Hey guys, what's up? So, I thought I would share a funny shop story with you. I was asked quite a few times by a few different people to share some funny shop stories, and I always kind of find it hard to think of some really good stories from the shop. And I've got tons of memory from me and Dad working together, but most of it was just work. But I recently thought of something that I hadn't thought of in a while, and I thought I would share that. You guys might enjoy this. And as you'll see right here, I've got some Elor's tool holders, and I've been doing a little bit of cleaning up. Well, not really cleaning up, but I've been going through some stuff, and I was going through some of my boxes down here, and I had kind of forgotten about these. These are some CXA Elor's tool holders. You know, you got a couple boring bar holders, parting blade holder, and this is one that's got the the inserts on each side you can use for turning and facing. But anyway, these are what kind of prompted the story here, and it kind of made me remember about this, so I thought I would share it with you. It's kind of a funny story. It's kind of a messed up situation, but I will say that my dad got the final FU in the end here. So what had happened is this was back, I believe, in 1996. This was before I started working for my dad. The year before, he had went over to Richard's Machine Tools. They were in New Orleans, Louisiana, and because he decided he wanted to go ahead and buy a new lathe at a new mill, and he went over there to look at the Acra line of machines, and he picked out an Acra lathe and an Acra mill, and he decided on a couple and bought them. So back home, he worked out a deal with there's a local crane company here in town, and I'm not going to mention any names here, but they're probably one of the biggest crane companies here in town. And he got with them about doing the rigging, actually the unloading of the machines once they arrived, and then bringing them into the shop for him. And so he worked out a deal with one of the guys. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was the owner, because all this kind of started with the owner, but maybe it was a foreman or a manager. But so whenever he had come over there and talked to Dad, and he looked at it and seen what they got to do, Dad had an old lathe in the back of the shop, and it was an old lathe. I don't know what kind it was or how big it was. I don't even remember it. It's just, I don't remember what it was, but it was an old big lathe that he didn't want anymore. So the guys from the crane company decided that they would actually like to have it. So Dad told them that if they would unload the machines and bring them into the shop, he would let them have that old lathe. And the only stipulation is that he was going to keep the tool post off of it. And I guess they shook hands and they agreed that was the deal. Unload the machines, bring them in for the old lathe. So everything happened. They brought the machines in, and I guess they brought, they pulled the old lathe out and took it. And I guess it was maybe the owner of the company, the manager, whoever, contacted Dad and said, hey, where's the tool post for this old lathe? And Dad told him, we agreed that the tool post didn't go with that lathe. I told you that I was going to keep it. And the guy was adamant about, no, that tool post belongs with this lathe and I want it. And basically Dad told him, well, sorry, you're not going to get it because I told you it didn't go with the lathe. So this guy decides to take my dad to court over a stupid tool post. And it was an Elor's tool post as a CXA Elor's tool post. He took him to court over this thing. So, Dad had no choice but to go down there, and he wants the court date, happened. By the way, I'm just telling you the story as it was told to me because I wasn't a part of any of this. But anyway, they went to court, and I guess it was Dad's turn to tell the judge the story of what was going on here. And I guess once he did, he said the judge was kind of like, you know, all this over a tool? And Dad said, yeah, a tool post for a lathe. So I guess the judge decided against the crane company's defense. He says, all right, well, give him the tool post. And that's all that was in the paperwork, was to hand over the tool post. So what does Dad do? He takes all the tool holders and puts them away. And when the guys come over there to get the tool post, he hands them just the tool post itself. And I think it wasn't the manager, it was actually, he sent a guy over there to get it. Handed it to him, and the guy left. And ended up calling Dad again at the shop and said, you mean this is what we went to court for? Was just this right here? And Dad said, yep. You said you wanted a tool post, and there it is. So Dad ended up keeping all of the holders for the tool post and gave them that one little CXA tool post. And all that to do over some small, simple thing, when, you know, they should have just agreed upon it in the beginning. You know, that wasn't something to fight about and take somebody to court over. But Dad ended up keeping all of the tool holders, and it was just hilarious because in the end, those guys got screwed, you know, because all they had was a tool post, and they still had to buy all the holders to go with it. But Dad ended up keeping them, you know, and he did that because in the paperwork it just said tool post. It didn't say tool post in all the holders. It just said the tool post. So we ended up with a full line of tool holders, and that's actually, to me, a very funny story from the shop, and I wanted you guys to know that because once I dug these things out again and I had thought about it. So, but yeah, as I said, we had a full set, and I was actually selling them. Past couple years, I listed them, and I was just selling them like one at a time because we didn't have a need for them. We've got the multi-fix on our machines. So actually, this is what's left of them, and for some reason they didn't sell, and this is what I got left. So what I decided to do here with these tool holders that I got left is, everybody's been so generous to me, and I've received a lot of really nice gifts in the mail. I decided I want somebody to have these. I'm not going to try to sell them anymore. I'm going to send these to somebody, and I know of a couple people that could use them, but I just kind of want it to be a little bit of surprise. But I'm going to box these things up, and I'm going to send them to somebody. So somebody's going to end up with these tool holders here pretty soon, and hopefully they can use them, and we'll put them to good use. They need a little bit of cleaning up. The boring bar holders here, I mean, see, this is the big heavy one right here. This will take an inch or inch and a quarter, but it's missing the center sleeve. So you know, as it sits there, you can hold an inch and a quarter boring bar with this one. And this is the 3/4 to 1 inch here, and of course the turning tool, and then the parting blade holder here. So I wanted to just kind of pay it forward, I guess you could say, and send these to somebody that can use them, because I can't use them. They remind me of my old shop, and you know, the story that I just shared with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed that, because it kind of brought a little smile on my face thinking about it again, and I just wanted to share it with you because I've had a few people ask me about sharing a good funny story from the shop. So there's one for you right there. So I'm gonna get these things boxed up pretty soon, and get them in the mail, and hopefully somebody can put them to use. All right, guys. Well, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you later. Hey guys, I think today I'm going to do a little bit of moving around. So I recently acquired a big list toolbox. My friend Gil got one and he actually ended up giving it to me. It's a pretty good size Lista cabinet. It's like 4 foot wide, 4 foot high, about 28 inches deep, I think. And I've got it stored down at the old shop, and I'm going to go down there and get the casters bolted on and hopefully get it down here today. And I'm planning on moving some stuff over here and putting it along that wall over there where the mother boxes are, and start using it for some tool storage. This Craftsman box going to go. I actually bought that when I was 16, but I'm going to take that to my mom's house and she's going to use that. And I got to do something with this green cabinet, but that thing is going to fill that whole space up right there, and it's going to give me a lot of tool storage. I may even end up doing something with all that on the wall there. So that's what my plan for today is, and I'm going to get my trailer loaded up and go get started. Alright, I'm down here in the old shop, and I got the camera sitting on the cabinet. Thought I'd give you a shot of it. There it is. This thing is pretty big. There's going to be a lot of storage room for me right here in this cabinet. I don't have many of the dividers. I'd like to see maybe if I can find some. It'd be a big help. But I like it. And then over here, these are all of the drills and the reamers that I had stored at work that I had in here, and I went ahead and brought those home because all this is going to go into that Lista now. So I'm going to start putting some bolting the casters on and see if I can get this thing moved down to the new shop. I got it down here at the shop, and when I was down there and I picked it up with the forklift, I got underneath it and looked, and I figured out that the casters that came with it weren't actually the casters that went with this cabinet. I believe they're just a set of casters that you know, the guy gave Gil to use on the cabinet. And I didn't ever really look at them until this morning, but they're really like a light duty caster, and I don't think that they would work on this. This is going to be really heavy once I load all those drills and reamers and all my other tools and stuff in there. So I've decided, since I don't have any kind of heavy duty casters here, I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it sitting flat on the floor, and I've got all the drawers and rails out of it so that we can actually kind of handle it. So this is what it looks like empty, and I've got all the drawers over there stacked up. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing some shuffling in the shop and see if I can get this thing in there. Alright, well, I got the new Lista cabinet in. I've got all the drawers in. I started putting some stuff in there, and I'm really starting to like it already. I've got my my little Craftsman box with my hand tools. All that stuff's in that top drawer already, and I've got a lot of storage room there that I'm going to start putting some of my stuff in, and it's going to help me out a lot. I think I'm going to have a lot of room for some of this other stuff that I've still got in boxes underneath the workbench here, and get some of that stuff in some of them bigger drawers. But I'm liking it, and I just wanted to tell Gil, thanks a lot for hooking me up, man. I really appreciate it. That's a very nice toolbox there. I went ahead and just moved the drill press on down next to the welding table here, because I'm not even using it yet. I haven't fixed it yet, and so I just moved it on down so I'd have a little bit more walking around room right here. So that's about it. I just wanted to share another little shop improvement that I'm working on. I'm not done. I'm probably gonna make me a top for it, because that top piece is a little bit flimsy. So I'll probably make a little top for it, maybe out of a piece of plywood or something. But anyway, got that done, and now I got a couple jobs I got to get started on. All right, see you around. So here we are sitting here by the Monarch. I thought of something else that I want to talk about in this video. I had a lot of comments in some of my previous videos about whenever I'm chucking a part and it's hanging out here, you know, how safe that is to have a part hanging out so far and doing some machine work on it. There's a lot of people that commented on that, and it's just from you know, job shop experience that you get work in that you have no other way to do it besides to chuck it up, and you've got it hanging way out here like that. Sometimes you can't use a steady rest on it. You don't have a steady rest that's big enough, where the part is shaped to where you can't run a steady rest on it. That's why it's important whenever you're doing this kind of work that you've got a good chuck that you can rely on, and you feel confident in what you're doing. Just because you got a part hanging out here from the chuck so far doesn't mean that it's unsafe. You have to be safe about the work. I've done enough of it now to where whenever I get something in, I can determine what's going to be safe and what's not. You know, I've done enough cutting on it to know what will work and what won't. So, you know, like the video where I was making I believe it was the 8-inch roller assembly. No, it wasn't that. I'm sorry. It was the slide out tool. I had a big piece that was hanging way out here. I was doing facing and boring on it, And some people have never seen that kind of work before. They've never seen a workpiece hanging out so far. And maybe they're a little worried that it's going to sling out of the chuck. It could very well happen if you're not careful. You got to have a chuck. You got to have it chucked tight enough to where it's not going to move on you. And the only way that it will move is that if you do something wrong. You're trying to take too heavy of a cut on something, or you run the carriage up here and slam the part into the carriage, the tool post, or something like that. Yeah, then you're going to start having some problems. But if you know what you're doing and you're careful about it, and you're confident in your setups, you can do the work. And that's how I learned. I was thrown into the job shop world, and I was taught by Dad. There was plenty of times where I questioned the same things, and I was worried about it. And he said, "Nope, that chuck will hold it." So, this is compared to what we used to have. This is a small Monarch. Our big Monarch was the catalog size was a 22M, I believe, if I remember that right. It was 22M, but it had a 24-inch Cushman chuck on it. It had some really aggressive jaws on it. The really deep serrated jaws. And it was the heavy-duty chuck. I mean, that thing weighed probably 1,000 pounds just by itself. And it would hold the world if you could get it in there and get it tight enough. It would hold. And there was plenty of jobs that I had to hold something and hang it out here. And in my early days, and I was a little worried about it. And Dad would come over there and show me, and we'd do it together. He would help me, and we'd get it chucked up and get it indicated. And we'd end up doing the work on it. And that kind of experience, the more that you do, the more experience that you gain. And you learn from it. So you learn what will work and what won't. So whenever you guys see me doing jobs like that, whenever I'm chucking a part and it's hanging out here like that, I wouldn't do it if I didn't feel confident that the job would work like it is. Like I said, you just got to be careful and not screw up. So I wanted to throw that out there because I had a lot of people ask me about it, and I seem to have a lot of concern. And guys that's already experienced, I'm sure they're not questioning me, but it's the guys that don't have the experience doing the same type of work that I'm doing. It's a little confusing to them to be able to see me doing that type of work. So I found some pictures on my computer that I've taken quite a while back that I wanted to share on this video, and it's going to give you a good example of what I'm talking about here. And the pictures is a great big pump housing, sort of like in the shape of a bell. And what we had to do on these repair jobs, we did them many times, is that you have to chuck it, and you've got this great big housing hanging way out of the chuck right here. Some of the ones I did, was in the chuck, and it was almost down here where the camera is now. But you've got a bearing journal way up on the inside, really close to where you're chucking it. So the machine work that I'm doing is not way out here on the end creating all that force. I've got a boring bar that's reaching way up inside, and I'm boring that. Really small light cuts, and nothing heavy duty. But the weight of it was just, it was massive. It was very heavy. So you had to make sure that the chuck was holding it good, and it was very tight, and it's not going to move on you. You get it chucked up, and you get out here, you bump your face true, and there's usually machined registers on there, so you indicate out here, which would make it true with your inside bearing race right there. So, but like I said, I found a few pictures from the old shop. It's just a few of them, and I wanted to throw them in on this video, and I think you guys will probably enjoy seeing them. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit of my thinking on long work holding here, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for listening.